I have been married for 2.5 wonderful years, and I have learned quite a bit in that time when it comes to money and relationships. So if you are seriously dating, engaged, or married, stick around. You need to hear this. Hi, and welcome to the channel. This is Dollar for Dollar, and my name is Heather. Thank you so much for watching today. We talk about personal finances on this channel, and today we're going to talk about money and relationships. I am going to share with you my very top 5 pearls of wisdom, so to speak, when it comes to money and relationships. So, if you are not already subscribed to the channel, please consider by hitting that subscribe button and that bell below, and also giving this video a big thumbs up because you know you're going to learn something today. So, why are we having this conversation? Why is this so crucial today, more than ever? Well, that's because money fights and money arguments are the #1 cause of divorce today. The #1 cause. So how can you mitigate any of those arguments? Well, I'm going to share some of those pearls of wisdom with you right now. So #1, when it comes to money and your relationship, you need to have goals. You need to have a shared vision. So talk about what your financial dreams are. Talk about your 1-year goal, your 5-year, 10-year, 20-year, and if applicable, retirement. So talk about all those things. What do you want out of life, especially when it comes to your financial life? What are you hoping to achieve? This was something that my husband and I did very early on once we started really talking about engagement and marriage, and it was so liberating to just see how much of our personal goals really aligned, especially when it came to finances. So do that. I would definitely say dream together and talk in realistic goals, numbers, things you can have that are tangible. You know, if you have a goal to retire at the age of 50, share that with your partner. Share these dreams, share your vision. #2, there is probably nothing more crucial when it comes to your money and your relationship than combining your finances once you are married. Now I say once you are married, not before you are married. Before you are married, you need to keep everything separate. I could share horror stories of friends, family, myself included, of what it looks like when you start to tangle the two together. And it's just not good. So avoid it at all costs. Just don't do it. So only combine your finances when you are married. Now for my married folks out there, if you are married and you are still living with separate bank accounts, separate money, combine it. You have no idea what you are missing. Okay, 2 have become 1, and that includes your finances. This was such a huge deal in my marriage when we actually said I do and we immediately combined finances. We were a team, and I felt like he wasn't just saying he was committed, he was showing me he is committed. So perhaps that is something that's causing some strife right now in your marriage if you are not combining finances. So combine bank accounts, credit cards, whatever it is you have, you need to be combining it. Because the reality is, when you are tackling life, you need to be tackling it together. And that includes your money and your finances. So #3, talk about debt. Now, ideally, you're going to do this before you ever get married or even before you get engaged, but talk about debt. Talk openly, talk honestly. Debt is one of those things where it can lurk in the dark corner and then suddenly just rear its ugly head, and it can completely destroy any trust you have built with this person. So talk about how much debt you have and what exactly it is, and also talk about how you are planning to pay off the debt. The reality is, once you get married to somebody, your debt becomes their debt too. That's what happened in my marriage. I had some student loans hanging out when we got married, and guess what? The second I had to fill out my income-based, payment plan form the next year, they asked about my husband's income. So it really does become a problem for the both of you. So you need to be on the same page. You need to talk about how you are handling it and also what you've learned from being in debt. Do you have this desire to never go into debt again? Has it really proven to be such a headache for you that you now understand the consequences of taking on debt? Talk openly. And also, when you were talking about having this debt and talking about how you got in this situation, be willing to have conversations about how you grew up with money. Perhaps your spouse is somebody who never really was taught the value of a dollar, and so they had to learn the hard way. Now, I will say, if you are out there and maybe you don't have debt, or you really haven't struggled with money, and you were, in a relationship with somebody who has, they've gone through a very different experience with money, just listen. There's probably nothing better for your relationship than you coming to them in a non-judgmental way, willing to sit down, set aside an hour, have a conversation around money, have a conversation around debt, what it looks like. Are you both, willing to never enter into debt again? Like, what does that look like? And also talk about the baggage that comes into your relationship when it comes to money and how you view money, okay? My husband and I, we both had our own triggers, we both had our own baggage when it came to money, and we talked about it, and it was wonderful because now I feel like I'm on a whole other playing field when it comes to money. And my husband, we have talked about it, and he understands what triggers me, what is most important to me when it comes to our financial well-being. And I can't say this enough, it really is an amazing part of a relationship when you can just be open and honest, especially when it comes to your money. Fidelity Investments actually did a survey, and they surveyed couples with debt versus couples without debt. And they found that couples with debt were more likely to argue and have fights. In fact, it was something like 67% of couples with debt argued versus 41% of couples without debt that would argue about money. And this is just strictly about money, of course. Arguments about money issues and finances. So it really makes a huge difference in your marriage as well if you're able to come to a point of understanding when it comes to debt, and if you're able to pay off the debt together, that right there will alleviate some of the money issues in your marriage. Okay, so number 4, this is extremely important whether you are in a relationship or not. You need to budget. Now, for couples, you need to budget together. One of you may be a numbers person, one of you may actually set up the entire budget. That is totally fine. In my marriage, I set up the budget, not because my husband doesn't want to, but he knows that I really enjoy having that responsibility in the home, so he lets me do it, and then I share it with him. That's the key. Not just making a budget and then enforcing it on your significant other. You need to be talking about it. Have monthly, weekly conversations about your budget, okay? You need to be on the same playing field. You need to agree when it comes to how you are going to save, spend, and give your money. So that's something we do, and I highly recommend it. We did not start this way. We said, hypothetically, we expect to save this amount every single month. But once we started making a budget, it was very clear we were spending more than we thought, that we anticipated. So make a budget, stick to it, track your expenses, but do it together, okay? So this is extremely important. You need to be a team. So the budget leads me to my number 5. This is a big one, okay? And this was a game changer in my marriage when we started doing this. Have a specific amount of money that you both are able to spend on yourselves how you want. So in your budget, create a line item that's just for you. Say it's $50 a month, $100 a month, whatever it is, that you can spend when you want, and you don't have to ask. Really, you just don't need permission. You can go get your nails done. You can go buy that cool tech gadget. Whatever it is, you can do it. No questions asked. The same thing for your spouse. So whatever you set aside for you, make sure you're setting aside the same amount for your spouse. And this is great for 2 main reasons. One, you have a little bit of independence within the larger budget, right? So you're still able to dictate how you spend that money just for you. And also, the bonus to that is it keeps you motivated to stick to the other items on your budget. When we started doing this, it was more motivation for my husband and I to save more for a car, which is what we just finished doing. We were saving for a new vehicle. So by having a little bit of money that we essentially had as play money, we were motivated to stick it out and continue to save and put money away for a car, which is a larger savings, and it takes a little bit of time. So I highly recommend it if you are not doing it already. You need to have a little bit of money, again, nothing crazy, that you both can spend how you want and not have to ask for any sort of permission or anything like that. So those are my big tips, my best advice for couples out there. Again, if you're brand new here, please consider subscribing. I upload videos twice a week on personal finances. And also, please give this video a like. It would really help for the algorithm. And I know you learned something today. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope to catch you on the next video.